Ratios and proportions. So let's say we have the ratio 2 to 4, and we know this ratio is also going to be equal to 1 to 2. We could actually set up a proportion between these two ratios. We could say 2 is to 4 as 1 is to 2. And this would be a proportion. A proportion is two ratios that are equal to each other. So let's set this up with some variables to explore further. Let's say we have the ratio A to B and the ratio C to D. So let's set up a proportion between these two ratios. We could say that A is to B as C is to D. And we could also write this as a fraction. We could say A over B is equal to C over D. There's going to be a lot of color switching, so just get ready for that. So is there any other way we could write this? Well, let's cross multiply. And if we cross multiply, we will get A times D is going to be equal to B times C. And now let's divide both sides by CD. So if we simplify this, we cancel the D's here, we can cancel the C's here, and we'll end up with A over C is equal to B over D. So as you can see, we can rewrite the proportion A over B is equal to C over D as A over C is equal to B over D. So as you can see, we just went across here like that, and we put A over C and B over D. Let me just clean this up. And erase all of that. So there is one more thing that we can do, and that is to flip each of these. We can write A over B is equal to C over D, and we can write this as the proportion B over A is equal to D over C. And we can rewrite this proportion here as C over A is equal to D over B. So all 5 of these are a different way of writing the same thing. A proportion can be written in all of these different ways. You just choose which one you need for the problem that you're trying to solve, which one will make it easiest, and that's how you set it up. So now that we know the different ways of writing a proportion and how to set it up, let's move on to some examples. So let's look at this problem. An animal shelter contains bunnies, cats, and dogs in a ratio of 2 to 3 to 5, respectively. If there are 60 dogs, how many more cats are there than bunnies? So first, I didn't mean to do that, but that was funny. So first, let's try to figure out what we're supposed to be solving for in the first place. Here it says, how many more cats are there than bunnies? So let's use C to represent cats and B to represent bunnies. If we need to know how many more cats there are than bunnies, then we would subtract B from C. So we're trying to solve for C minus B. So I'm going to move that off to the side so we can keep track of it. So let's see if we can set up a proportion to solve for this. So we need the ratio between bunnies to cats to dogs. So let's write that. We have the ratio of bunnies to cats to dogs is just going to be B to C 2D. But we know this ratio can also be written as, because we have it right here, it will also be 2 to 3 to 5. So the ratio of bunnies to cats to dogs is 2 to 3 to 5. But instead of writing it like this, let's write it in a different way. Let's say the ratio of bunnies to 2 is equal to the ratio of cats to 3, which is going to be equal to the ratio of dogs to 5. And I wrote it here as fractions to make it easier to actually solve for things. So just like at the beginning of this video, and I showed you all the different ways you can write a proportion, let's see why we can write this one like this. Let's say we have the ratio of bunnies to cats is equal to the ratio 2 to 3, as we've already established. But remember I said that you could write it across. So you could say b over 2 is equal to c over 3. And that's why we can write it like this. So we still don't have c and b, but we have a proportion that's going to allow us to solve for that. So how can we do that? Well, we know from this right here that there are 60 dogs. So let's replace this d here with 60. And now we have 3 ratios that are equal to each other, and we have one that's already solved for it. So we can actually set this ratio here, equal to the other ratios to solve for c and b. So let's solve for b first. We have the ratio b over 2 is going to be equal to 60 over 5. So now we just cross multiply, and we will get 5b is equal to 60 times 2 is going to be 120. So now if we divide both sides by 5, we will end up with, let me scroll down. So we will end up with b is equal to 120 divided by 5. Put that into your calculator because I'm not good at head math. B is going to be equal to 24. So now we still need to solve for c. So let's set our ratio of 60 over 5 and set that equal to c over 3. So we have c over 3, or c to 3, is equal to 60 to 5. And now we just cross multiply. We will end up with 5 times c is equal to 60 times 3. Well, 6 times 3 is 18, and then we just add a 0, so that's going to be 180. And now we just divide both sides by 5. Let's put that into our calculator again. So c is going to be equal to 180 divided by 5, and that's going to be 36. So now we have c and b, so we just need to subtract them, because that's what we were supposed to solve for. So let's do that. We have 36 minus 24. That is going to be equal to 12. So there are 12 more cats in the shelter than bunnies. So that's it for this video on how to set up proportions to solve word problems.